In the direction of Pokrovsk, fire was once again raging as the Russian occupation forces once again recklessly sent their convoy of combat equipment to breach the Ukrainian defense lines. Their target was clear: units of the 46th Airborne Brigade, which had repeatedly served as a barrier in this sector. But like previous attempts, the attack ended in utter devastation. Video footage showed the enemy column advancing confidently, led by a main battle tank and followed by two armored fighting vehicles carrying infantry. They were leveraging their speed and armor protection, hoping to suppress the Ukrainian defenses through a direct assault. Aerial surveillance of the 46th Airborne Brigade showed that every meter of their movement was under intense scrutiny. The Podolsk paratroopers of the 46th Airborne Brigade were already at the ready, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. As the lead tank entered the firing line, a precision strike was launched, but in an instant the armored vehicle was hit with pinpoint accuracy. A loud explosion shook the terrain, and thick black smoke billowed. The enemy tanks were destroyed and came to a complete halt, severing the convoy's backbone. Without primary cover, the enemy formation immediately lost coordination. In the second wave of attacks, armored vehicles targeted. The two armored fighting vehicles following them attempted to maneuver and disperse. However, this attempt only accelerated their demise. The successive rounds struck one after another, penetrating the armor and triggering internal explosions. Both enemy armored fighting vehicles were destroyed, leaving burning wreckage in the path of the attack. The resulting attack left the enemy infantry inside and around the vehicles with no time to evacuate, trapped in open, unprotected terrain and exposed to continued precision fire and easy prey for the FPV drone operators. This assault attempt once again proved that the Pokrovsk area is deadly terrain for enemy convoys, and the outcome was decisive. 20 Russian assault troops were killed on the spot, and 3 others were seriously wounded and unable to continue fighting. The courage and coordination of the 46th Airborne Brigade, particularly the Podolsk paratroopers, repulsed a mechanized assault designed to suppress the Ukrainian defenses. The incoming column of armor left only smoke, flames, and wreckage. The assault was a complete failure, and Pokrovsk remained. At the same time, Russian troops were seen moving across open ground without cover, their every move clearly visible from the air. Unbeknownst to them, the 54th Mechanized Brigade's Unmanned Systems Battalion had been scouting their movements from the start. Video footage shows a network of Ukrainian reconnaissance drones working with chilling precision, mapping out enemy positions trapped in open ground. With no buildings or trenches to offer cover, the terrain became a death zone. Moments later, combat drones were launched. From the aerial camera's perspective, Russian soldiers could be seen scattering one by one. But it was too late. The attack came swiftly and accurately, with the explosion hitting the center of the formation, followed by another, destroying the rest of the movement. The surviving Russian troops tried to crawl and run for their lives, but every attempt to escape was instantly detected. The FPV drones systematically hunted their targets, turning the open field into a graveyard without any headstones. Within minutes, the Russian troop movement was completely paralyzed. This operation reaffirmed Ukraine's dominance in modern, technology-driven warfare. The 54th Brigade's Unmanned Systems Battalion not only physically destroyed the enemy, but also broke their morale. This footage is stark proof that on the front lines, the sky is now the deadliest weapon. The open terrain that should have been a path for rapid movement turned into a deadly trap. And for the Russian troops passing through that day, there was no escape, only utter destruction from the air. On the same day, Russian forces launched another mechanized assault in the Pokrovsk sector, targeting positions held by the 46th Separate Airmobile Podillia Brigade of Ukraine's air assault forces. The attack involved armored vehicles and a significant number of infantry, but it was decisively repelled by coordinated Ukrainian fire. Footage of the engagement was released by the Air Assault Forces Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Reports indicate that the enemy deployed up to 4 armored vehicles in an attempt to breach Ukrainian defenses. The assault was swiftly neutralized through the combined efforts of combat engineers, artillery units, and unmanned systems working in close coordination. The operation ended with heavy losses for the attackers. The 46th Separate Airmobile Brigade destroyed 1 Russian tank and 2 armored fighting vehicles. Enemy personnel losses included approximately 20 killed and at least 3 wounded. The 46th Separate Airmobile Brigade emphasized that operations in the sector continue relentlessly, with Ukrainian air assault troops systematically preventing the enemy from turning their attacks into any tactical gains. As Defense Express previously reported, Ukrainian forces conducted a series of precision strikes overnight on January 22nd, targeting Russian fuel logistics, air surveillance assets in Crimea, and rear-area military infrastructure. Currently, the Russians are facing non-stop military losses on Ukrainian soil. About 1,229,740 aggressors' troops were eliminated. 117,130 air targets of invaders were shot down. Thousands of tanks, armored vehicles, and trucks were destroyed by the defenders of Ukraine. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has published a new summary of total combat losses of the enemy from 24th February 2022 to 24th January 2026. So far, the enemy's combat losses are the following. Personnel, 1,229,740, plus 1,170. Tanks, 11,587, plus 8 units. APV, 23,938, plus 10 units. Artillery systems, 36,463, plus 70 units. MLRS, 1,621, plus 3 units. Anti-aircraft warfare systems, 1,279, plus 1 units. Aircraft, 434, plus 0 units. Helicopters, 347, plus 0 units. UAV operational tactical level, 112,159, plus 1,019 units. Cruise missiles, 4,190, plus 27 units. Boats/warships, 28, plus 0 units. Submarines, 2, plus 0. Special equipment, 4,049, plus 1 units. Vehicles and fuel tanks, 75,238, plus 107.